Fresh hope that the war in Gaza could end. The U.S. president has outlined a new peace deal. Speaking at the White House, Joe Biden urged Hamas to accept the proposal, which was submitted by Israel. Biden said it's time for the war to end, for the day after to begin. The plan would eventually lead to a permanent ceasefire and withdrawal of Israeli forces in exchange for the release of hostages and the long-term reconstruction of Gaza, which has been devastated by more than 7 months of war. Our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons, following developments from Jerusalem. We can speak to him now. Hello to you, Rob. What has been reaction to this latest proposal?
Well, the reaction from Benjamin Netanyahu himself came a bit late. It is the Sabbath here in Israel, so perhaps that's the reason why. But given the fact that this is an agreement which is meant to have come from the Israeli side, his response was, I would say, cool to say the least. He said that, and we're really talking about the transition between phase 1 and phase 2 of the deal here. In other words, at what point does it become possible to switch from a temporary ceasefire to the end of the war itself? And what Benjamin Netanyahu is saying is that Israel will never agree to the permanent ceasefire, in other words, to the end of the war, until its conditions have been met. Its conditions are the total defeat of Hamas, so that it could no longer function in a military sense or a governmental sense. So, those are still pretty tough terms. I suppose the question will be, how do you define what defeat amounts to? Joe Biden gave his spin on that when he announced the proposal from the White House, suggesting that Hamas is already effectively defeated and it is pointless to keep on pushing for an elusive total victory which could never really be achieved. Whether Benjamin Netanyahu is prepared to go down that path or not, we don't know as yet, but I somehow doubt it.
Yeah, it appears to be the furthest that Biden has gone into telling Israel to wrap up its operations. Rob, what are some of the other developments you're following, whether it's on the ground in Gaza or the tensions between demonstrators and the Israeli government? What's caught your eye this weekend?
Well, what's really characterizing at the moment is this deal. What happens next? And obviously, there's a lot of concern about what the Israeli response is going to be and who this deal actually represents in the Israeli government. Was Benjamin Netanyahu involved in drawing it together? I mean, what is his relation with it? But the other aspect, which we don't really know the full answer to yet, is what is Hamas's full response going to be? We know Hamas has said it recognizes this as a positive step forward. But when we get to phase 2 and the end of the war phase, is it possible for Hamas to accept a deal which would in effect mean its complete removal from the scene in Gaza? It's really hard at this stage to see how they could possibly accept that. But Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, has been talking today to Turkey. He's been talking to Jordan. He's been talking to Saudi Arabia. His envoys have been talking to Qatar, to Egypt, all to put pressure on Hamas to accept this deal. Whether they're prepared to go as far as that, we simply don't know at this stage. There are too many variables up in the air.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Rob Parsons reporting from Jerusalem.